This year has been defined by unprecedented natural disasters all around the world, from heat waves across Europe and China to floods in India and Pakistan. The physical toll is often seen and heard, but the impact on mental health is less apparent. High temperatures are getting to our heads. Sweating buckets makes us irritable and frustrated. An analysis of more than 6 million tweets from the United States shows that each 1 degree rise in the mercury increases the chances that a post has depressive words. What's even gloomier for those already suffering from mental illness. Studies show these people are 3 times more likely to die in a heat wave. In India, nearly 50 years of records show suicide rates increasing with high temperatures during the crop planting season. China, which just saw its southern provinces hit by drought, has seen farmers left empty-handed as the heat has burned their livelihoods.
这个是也是天为的，也不是人为的。是人为的话都不得行，天为的没法，肯定影响上那个，然后会没影响啊。一个家庭都是靠一些副业为主噻，关键是。
In some places, a lack of water. In others, too much of it. Those who survive the raging torrents have lost their homes, sometimes their family. A study of flooding in England shows more than a third of victims suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, while 20% have been diagnosed with depression and another 28% with anxiety. The impact is also acute in low-income nations that need years to recover from floods.
सैलाब मां हिते वॾी तबाही थी वई असांखे वरी अलाह अलाह रसूल करे जिते बि सैलाब आहे मां जूं तबाही थी वञे जिते किथे पर वधि में वधि असीं ग़रीब मंछर जा मला आहियूं असांखे ख़ुदा जेको मतिलबु खाइण लाइ का शइ कोन हूंदी आहे एॾो असां बर्बाद थी विया आहियूं हाणे अलाह करे त ख़तमु थी वञे रब रसूल करे त सभु को पंहिंजे वतन ते वापसि वञे.
Long after storms pass, clouds still loom over some mines. More than a decade after Hurricane Katrina swept through the United States, survivors are still needing trauma care. The pain is rooted in the destruction of communities, forced migration, and life no longer being the way it used to be. But sustained mental health support after natural disaster can make a difference. Following the March 2011 earthquake, tsunami and nuclear crisis in Japan, counsellors paid regular visits to survivors even 10 years later. They gave tips on dealing with stress, the loss of loved ones, and how to build social networks. All these help to keep suicide rates consistently below the national average. Yet peace of mind can be hard to achieve. Research on links between climate change and mental well-being have only emerged from the early 2000s. CNA's survey of 6 countries and territories here in Asia shows that 72% of respondents are somewhat or extremely concerned about climate change. Experts warn much more work is needed to help those who are suffering silently.
For more on this, we're joined by Karim Brohi. He is a professor of trauma sciences at Queen Mary University of London. Dr. Brohi, in your work as a trauma surgeon in London, you bring people back from the brink. How have mental health issues affected the patients that you see?
Yes, I think we in London, like many people around the world, are seeing increase in mental health problems associated with the multiple crises that people are facing in their lives. And climate change probably sits over the top of that. So increases in suicides because people can't pay their bills, because they're worried that they can't pay their bills, about the future energy crisis. People are already at their limit because of how they've come out of the COVID crisis, or still to come out of the COVID crisis, and how they've suffered there. And then the things that they're worried about in the future, like climate change, add to this. And it's not just attempted suicides, it invokes a lot of stress, which leads to violence, domestic violence, violence against the elderly. And so these things express themselves in many different ways.
And Dr. Brohi, as vulnerable communities continue to face this stress that you speak of due to extreme weather, how urgent is it for governments to perhaps place more emphasis on support, perhaps more resources for the most disadvantaged among us?
So I think it's government's jobs, but also everybody's job to protect the people and, you know, all of us around ourselves to allow us to get through this. There are obviously the people who are directly in the path of climate change who need active support, but overall we need societies that are more resilient to the changes and the crises that are going to happen. And that's not just governments, but companies, communities, all trying to take the pressure off people and allow people to have a bit of space to become more resilient in them. So not driving efficiencies, not driving productivity, but allowing people the space to take some of the worries and pressures off them, off their daily lives, so that they're more resilient to cope with these things.
Dr. Brohi, we appreciate your thoughts on this issue very much. Dr. Karim Brohi, they're Professor of Trauma Sciences at Queen Mary University of London.